This month, the Pittsburgh Opera is presenting its first ever performances of Haydn's spellbinding Aramida. It's a tale all about whether to chase love or follow your duty. The Prince of Darkness sends the enchantress Aramida to seduce and destroy the heroic knight Rinaldo. But as they fall in love with each other, both need to decide between obeying their orders or going with their hearts. Plus, there's a revenge plot to make things extra exciting. Fall into Aramida's clutches from January 25th through February 2nd. That's Pittsburgh Opera. Where can we take you? Learn more at pittsburghopera.org/citycast.
Today on CityCast Pittsburgh, I have got a stock of glass jars from pasta sauce living under my cabinet, a huge pile of dead batteries from my audio recorder, and way too many cardboard boxes sitting in my basement. It is time for me to take out all of my trash and recycling. And if you're in the same boat or wondering what exactly can get recycled in the first place, we are here to explain all the guidelines and tell you where you can recycle things you can't put in your blue bin, like pesky electronics. And even if you think you know all of Pittsburgh's trash and recycling rules, it might be time for a review, because thanks to a new policy, if you violate the rules, it could mean a fine. It's Tuesday, January 28th. I'm Sophia Lowe, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. I'm here with Hey Pittsburgh editor Francesca DeBecco. Hello.
Hey.
And we are here to talk about everyone's favorite topic, trash and recycling. That one actually maybe is a little more exciting.
Yes, we are trash talking today. Putting your trash or recycling on the curb really should be easy, but it can kind of get complicated sometimes.
It really can. I mean, I think trash for me is pretty easy, but I don't know. I always am checking which plastics can I recycle? Can I actually recycle this? Where do I recycle this?
Exactly.
But if you are also confused, we are here to break down how trash and recycling works here in Pittsburgh and then tell you what to do with those hard to recycle items. So things like light bulbs and batteries and even medical supplies. I did not know you could recycle medical supplies.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot researching for this too.
Yeah, so let's get the easy stuff out of the way first, trash rolls. And it's super important to know all of these because starting this year, this is brand new, you could actually be fined between $35 and $100 if you're not following them. Yeah, so here is what you need to know. Your trash needs to be in a tightly sealed container and out of view. So before you put your trash out on the curb, make sure it's in, your bin and it's covered. And this helps you too. You don't want any critters getting in there.
No.
And then you want to make sure that you take your trash out after 6 p.m. the night before collection day and put your bin away by 10 p.m. on collection day. So this, helps people to not leave their bins out. I'm definitely guilty of this sometimes, not gonna lie.
Francesca, you better watch out or you'll be fined. I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna be coming after you if you're putting your trash out on the curb at 5:55 p.m. I'm not sure exactly how this is gonna be enforced, but I'm sure that this is just kind of general rules and guidelines to keep in mind that, this fine's probably supposed to be more of a deterrent.
Yeah.
To leaving your bins out for 24 hours.
Yeah. And apparently they're going to have a transition period where they're going to issue warnings. So don't worry if you don't get it right all the time.
Yeah. But better starting early that you follow these rules.
Yeah, exactly. And just a reminder, don't put trash in your blue recycling bins. So make sure you're not mixing those. And then again, for the fine, what your violation charge would be, your first fine is $35. Your second is $50 and the third is $100. So they're really trying to keep you from making those trash mistakes.
Okay, scary stuff. The fines are out of the way. Let's talk about how to make sure that we're being good neighbors.
Yes.
Reminder, you do have to buy your own trash can here. So if you're like moving or something, that's something you might need to keep in mind. If your trash can is looking busted and you need a new one, make sure to buy one that's under 35 gallons.
Yeah, that's a good tip. And you probably already know when your trash comes, but there's actually a handy tool where you can plug in your address and figure out the schedule. Like if you move or something, the website is pgh.street, like ST, so pgh.st. And also a good tip to remember, when a holiday falls on or before your collection day, pickup is often delayed one day.
This is what usually trips me up, but my
Yeah.
partner is really good at staying on top of that.
Yeah.
So what about like bulk trash items like furniture? What should you do with that? Because that's obviously not fitting in a 35-gallon bin.
Yes, good question. So the city will pick up 2 bulk items for you per week. That includes things like sofas, recliners, mattresses, dressers,
Lots of stuff.
appliances. Yeah. So, you might be surprised. Someone might actually come and pick it up, though. People often do that. Like,
That's very true.
Yeah, some people scrap it, but they do not collect things like TVs, car parts, and any waste from construction.
That makes sense. There has been a wood pallet sitting in the back, not on like the curb or anything in my backyard, because I knew they weren't taking that away. I do ask just about like bulk trash items like furniture, because with a lot of my furniture, I do try to give it a good home if it's in good condition.
Yes.
Before trying to throw it out. One recommendation I have is Off the Floor Pittsburgh. They're a great organization to donate to, and they'll pick up within 10 miles of their warehouse on the north side.
Yep.
Stuff needs to be in good condition if you're donating it, though. Like I said before, that's kind of like the one caveat. If you're not going to give it to your friends and family or take it yourself, maybe rethink donating it. But one other org to donate to is Construction Junction. You are going to hear their name a lot later in this episode.
Yeah, we love them out in Point Breeze. But if you are in a situation where you have more than 2 bulk items you need the city to take, you can actually call them to arrange a pickup. So that number is 412-255-2773. It's $137 for the first hour and an additional $54 for each hour, or like a portion of an hour after the first hour. And you can write a check or a money order straight to the City of Pittsburgh treasurer. And so that's one way, you have to pay, but it's one way to get that trash off your curb.
Totally. And then another thing to be mindful of, yard waste.
Yes.
Not a year-round problem, obviously. But one thing to note is that the city only picks up things like leaves and branches a couple times a year.
Yep.
All that material should go in paper bags as well, not plastic ones. But then there are a few centers where you can drop off yard waste at any point, any season, just in case you do miss those couple of pickup days. So there's one in the East End, one in the West End, and one in Hazelwood.
Yeah. And just throwing this out there, as long as your yard waste, like your leaves, are not clogging drains, it's actually really good for the environment to leave your leaves in your yard.
Being lazy is good sometimes.
Yes. That's where the pollinators hide out in the winter. So we want to protect those little bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Also, these places where you can take yard waste, you can also take your Christmas trees. Just make sure you take your lights and decorations off first.
Totally. I imagine that would not be fun if you showed up there and then got turned away because you left all your decorations on and you want to save all your ornaments anyway.
Yes.
So those drop-off centers I mentioned, like East End and those couple of others, those centers also take old tires. So yard waste and
nice.
tires, they do it all. Only 2 a day per resident, though. So if you just got all 4 tires on your car swapped, bring a buddy, then you can get rid of all of them. And just one more note, the rims of the tires do need to be taken off before you hand them over.
That's a good hack.
Pitt men's basketball is back this season with a great deal for families to enjoy Panthers game days together. The Family 4-Pack offers you 4 tickets to a game plus a $40 concessions voucher for only $125. That's like $30 a ticket, and then you get that free $40 concessions voucher to treat the entire family. The offer is available right now for the upcoming Pitt, Virginia game. That's on Monday, February 3rd at 7 p.m. at the Peterson Events Center in Oakland. My real ones know how much I love basketball, and Pitt men are killing it right now, y'all. They are near the top of the ACC standings with a fantastic record, and they're playing especially well at home, so you're going to get a good show. Don't miss out on seeing your Pitt Panthers in action this season with the Family 4-Pack deal. Family 4-Packs for the Pitt, Virginia game are on sale now at pittsburghpanthers.com/family4pack. That's family number 4-pack.
Ready to conquer your next big challenge? Make 2025 your medal year by signing up for the Dick's Sporting Goods Pittsburgh Marathon weekend of events. Happening May 3rd and 4th in Pittsburgh, it's more than a marathon. Choose from a marathon, relay, 5K, and more. And if you prefer walking, join the popular half marathon walking division. The Pittsburgh Marathon isn't just about running. It's about community, celebration, and pushing yourself to new limits. Over 300,000 fans will be cheering you on through the streets of the Steel City. And the hardest step is the first one, signing up. A registration today is a commitment to your future self. Join the excitement by visiting thepittsburghmarathon.com. Use CityCast15 to save 15% off any event registration. That's thepittsburghmarathon.com. And again, use that code, CityCast15, for 15% off any event.
Today's show is sponsored by the Frick Pittsburgh Museum and Gardens and a new award-winning tour of their historic home, Clayton. It's called Gilded, Not Golden, and this is unlike any tour you might have taken there in the past because it really gets into the complexities of Henry Clay Frick's story and legacy, like his role in the Homestead Riot and his lasting impact on our environmental health. It all focuses on the year 1892, when the riot happened, when Frick was almost assassinated, and when he mourned the loss of 2 of his children. I got to go on the new tour recently, and I was surprised by the way it started. You step into that glorious entryway and hear music from the orchestrion, that giant machine that sounds like an entire orchestra. It sets a very grand vibe. But as the music played, our tour facilitator told us how this one item was worth years of wages for a steelworker. And it became clear this tour wouldn't shy away from topics like wealth inequality and labor struggles. History is complicated, and that's what the Frick wants to share with you. The Frick's new signature tour of Clayton, Gilded, Not Golden, is now open for the season. Get tour tickets and learn more at thefrickpittsburgh.org.
Okay, so that is the gist of trash. Like we said before, the easier stuff. Recycling gets complicated fast, so let's start with what you can recycle and just throw straight into your blue bin. It's the same as trash there in terms of you need to buy your own bin.
Yep.
The city was running a program for a bit where you could potentially get a free recycling bin, but that has ended. Womp womp.
Yeah. So here's what you can put in your bin. Plastic bottles, jugs, and jars. Make sure they're cleaned with the lids removed. And new this year, you can recycle more containers. So the tubs for like butter, sour cream, and cottage cheese. I thought that these were recyclable the whole time.
Oh no.
So sorry.
Well, I guess you can keep on doing what you're doing for now, but I guess with those, you got to clean them out real good, right?
Yes, exactly.
The butter especially. So what else can you recycle?
Yeah, more things on the recycling list. Mixed paper, so junk mail, newspapers, magazine, soft and hardcover books. Although I do recommend taking your used books to a used bookstore maybe.
A little
or
free
a thrift
library
store.
too. There's a bunch of places.
Yeah, don't throw them out. And then metal, so things like aluminum, aerosol cans, steel cans. Make sure that those are clean and dry. You can leave the labels on though, so that's good. And then cardboard boxes that are flattened and bundled. You can place those right in your blue bin, or you can just stuff them in another box.
And then I know you talked about plastic jars, but you can also put glass jars in your recycling bin, right?
Yes, of course, glass. But because we have what's called a single stream recycling system where everything gets dumped together, glass can often break before it gets to the recycling center. That means that it's harder to recycle everything else in your bin properly because it can kind of get contaminated. So you can still recycle them on your curb, but if you want to be super sure that it gets recycled properly, there are some permanent glass drop-off sites all over the city and county. There's a map online that you can, easily find them, but some of the spots are in the Strip District, Mount Oliver, McKees Rocks, Avalon. There's one in Ross Township and Reserve Township, plus one at Construction Junction. Like we said, we'd be talking about them again.
Absolutely. So I think those are like typical household items that you might be using week to week. So now let's move into materials that are harder to recycle, starting with e-waste. So the Pennsylvania Resources Council has a calendar for regular e-waste recycling events. And here in Pittsburgh, there are weekly drop-offs on Tuesday and Thursday, but that's only through February 2025. That's coming up soon. So check back in on that website pretty soon. Drop-off is in the Strip District, and you do need to register to drop off. It's free to do that, but you're charged by the pound for recycling. It's 35 cents per pound.
Yes. And then e-waste. This includes stuff like computer monitors, your mouse, your keyboard, any gaming consoles, obviously TVs. You can also bring batteries, cables, and any Freon appliances there.
And then if you've got small electronic items like a phone that doesn't work, an MP3 player, if you still have that, you can actually drop that off at Target. That might be easier than booking an appointment and going to the Strip. So you can look out for a bunch of recycling bins at like the front of the store. They take all kinds of stuff, like even stuff like plastic bags and plastic film, because that's not accepted by recycling pickup.
Yep.
And if you're, looking for other places to toss that plastic, some Giant Eagle locations also have a spot. I know our usual host, Megan Harris, said that market districts are a pretty good bet for that.
Yes. And this is if you're not like me and you hoard your plastic bags instead of recycling them. Now that the city doesn't have plastic bags anymore, which we appreciate, but I like to reuse those as much as I can.
Me too. If you're not recycling them, reusing them also very valid.
So let's talk a little bit more about Construction Junction, since they partner with other organizations and do more of those hard to recycle items.
Yes, I was actually at Construction Junction recently. What a place full of so many weird and wacky treasures.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. So they will take refrigerant appliances like fridges, air conditioners, freezers. There is a $10 handling fee for each object, but I will gladly pay that. I don't want to deal with an air conditioner myself. They also take scrap metal. You can bring them alkaline batteries, so not rechargeable ones. And then they also take a pretty good variety of light bulbs too. They also charge for this. Prices vary per item, but it's not expensive at all, like about $1 max. And then they also take medical supplies. So that includes wheelchairs, crutches, canes, walkers, rollators, shower benches, and even liquid nutrition. This one really surprised me. So stuff like Ensure, but that has to be good for at least 3 more months.
This is a great tip, Sophia. I have like a walker and crutches like stuffed in my closet from when I was recovering from ankle surgery, and I don't want to have to use those again. So I should really give them to someone else. And again, Construction Junction takes furniture, doors, mirrors, hardware, all kinds of tools. So check their website before running over, because they take these donations depending on what they have in stock. And something that they don't take is old clothes. So let's talk about what to do with those.
Yeah, I used to have a lot of trouble figuring out what to do with like old clothes that I have like really worn out, like old college shirts that
like
I got
tattered,
for free. Yeah, exactly. Because you can't like bring those to Goodwill or anything like that and have them put them on the rack. So one spot you can give your old and ratty clothes is H&M. So they'll take basically anything and they'll throw in a coupon there. Goodwill does accept clothing, towels, sheets, and pillows for recycling. And then if you want to stay a little more local, though, University of Pittsburgh has a couple of textile recycling bins. So for textiles that can't really be used anymore. So 2 locations for drop-off, one at the O'Hara Student Center, and they've got another one in Point Breeze. So that building is right by Ascend, University of Pittsburgh. They've got buildings everywhere in this city.
Yeah. And then another thing that we wear, I didn't even think about this until we were doing this research, but eyeglasses. You can actually take them to the Lions Club. So if you're close to a club, you could reach out to arrange that directly. And they also partner with some Walmart Vision Centers and some local spots. So you can take your eyeglasses to iTeak downtown or in the South Hills Village. And there's a few more places downtown, Gateway Eye Associates, Envision Eye Care, Heidi Optics, and the Lawrenceville Eye Care. So, if you're not wearing those specs anymore, give them to a good home.
Mm-hmm. And then one last thing that we wear, sneakers, athletic shoes. By the time you're done with those are probably also pretty worn out. So instead of throwing them away, you could look up online, find companies that will recycle those shoes. So I've actually used this group called Got Sneakers before. They ship you this bag, you mail your sneakers back, shipping is free. You are supposed to get money from them back if you recycle your sneakers with there. I did not, but at least the sneakers are out of the house. I don't know if there's maybe like a time limit or something on that, because I got that bag, saved it for about 6 months, because I was like about to wear out another pair of shoes, kept saying, I'll do it later. So I don't know, but
they're not in the landfill. That's what matters.
That does matter to me. And then Sneaker Cycle is also a similar service. You can Google around and see if there's another one you prefer to.
Yeah, and another place you can take sneakers as well as old clothing, curtains, all sorts of waste that you want to not end up in the landfill. If you've ever seen those yellow bins around town, they're actually from Planet Aid. They're all over the city. You can find a map on their website, and that's a great place if you're kind of new to recycling. That's kind of an one-size-fits-all situation for anything that's like fabric, accessories, anything worn. So look out for those around the city.
Ooh, good tip. Now that you mention it, I have definitely seen those things around and just hadn't really thought about it that much. Good to know what you can drop in there. And you do not have to remember all of this information. I know it was a lot. We have an article that includes all of these recycling tips, links to drop-off sites, all that stuff on our website. That is pittsburgh.citycast.fm. But if there is something we didn't mention you still have questions about, I really recommend checking out the Center for Creative Reuse, also in Point Breeze, right next to our favorite place, Construction Junction. So the Center for Creative Reuse has a ton of craft supplies, so you can donate craft supplies there, but they'll take really random things too, like packing peanuts, cassettes, like all the kind of stuff that maybe is just sitting in your box. Everything they take is on their website, and then they've got a whole other list of where to bring the things they can't accept. Those links are also on that article on our website. Again, check that out. That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. Don't forget to also subscribe to that Hey Pittsburgh newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See you then! If you need to get rid of staff, construction, I'm just going to start using they. I can't say construction.
Yeah, don't say
today.
it.
Yeah.